welcome back to the Smoky Room. Haven't done one of these in a week or two, but I don't know. I was listening to something earlier, and it caused me to think back on yesterday. A conversation I had with a very close friend of mine. He's actually the godfather of my son. Um, we were discussing world events, through a biblical worldview. And we got talking about he's a Vietnam veteran. Okay, he's been damaged by Agent Orange. He's 100% disabled. Uh, I mean, boy, did the Lord work in his life a number of times. Because he shouldn't be alive right now. The type of cancer he had, it was in his bones. And one day they said, "Hey, George, guess what? Uh, we don't see anything anymore." And yeah, so you know, but but I don't know if you're like me or if you're my age, a little older, perhaps, living in these times, the way things are, the way the country has gotten, uh, with certain people we have had in charge and also have in charge. We're seeing our culture wither away, due specifically due to an invasion that is taking place on our southern border that the administration just plain out lies about and refuses to acknowledge that there's even a problem. Now, my buddy and I yesterday were talking about how things used to be, how we used to be able to and this is growing up in the streets, oh man, the streets are supposed to be rough, yeah, you had your fights and but you didn't have to worry about getting killed like it is today. You had fistfights, and whoever won, won, and who lost, lost. You shook hands and went and got a candy bar or something. Um, and it caused me to reflect. Yeah, and I've had people ask me this in the past, like, why? Why, when I say I love my country, or you say you love your country, what does that mean exactly? Does it mean you like the piece of property your house is on? Um, do you run to a park and grab a handful of soil and I love you? What is it? I mean, what exactly are you saying? Is it the fact that you love being free? Let me rephrase that. Do you love the fact that you used to be free? You see, we're not free any longer. I don't know if you realize that or not. But yeah, we weren't spied on consistently. We didn't have cameras on top of our street lights or as traffic lights. We didn't have phones that you could walk around with that would also give the shadow government your personal information. Now, when I use terms like shadow government, new world order, world government, the Council on Foreign Relations, or if I decide I want to talk about what really took place on September 11th, 2001. All of a sudden, then I am taken and I'm put in this specific category of crazy people. But like I said, speaking to my friend yesterday, we're not crazy. There are certain truths, okay, in the world that cannot be denied. For instance, the southern border. What are you going to do? You're going to tell me there's not a problem there? Well, the president would. Or let me put it a different. The guy that calls himself the president would say there's no issue at the southern border. Mr. Mayorkas, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, I think, right? I think I'm right. He's another one. No problem at the southern border. Come on, what are you talking about? And he's shown numbers of how when the most hated man in human history was president, if he was doing such a horrible job, how come right now the percentages have climbed astronomically in comparison to when Donald Trump was president? Um, the kind of math I learned in school, Donald Trump's numbers are lower, okay, than Mr. Mayorkas's numbers. So Mr. Mayorkas, his number of illegal immigrants coming into this country has more than doubled the most hated man in world history's numbers. So Donald Trump's, if his numbers are lower, that means they're less. Oh, that I'll bet you he didn't think of that. Son of a, I knew it. I was telling myself when I was watching it, he's not really looking at the numbers there, is he? So we were talking we were talking about all this stuff and what does it mean? Like let's go back and talk about that once again. Why do you love your country? And when you say I love my country, what does that actually mean? Some people have never thought that through. They just say I love my country and that's it. But I think it's important to understand why you're saying that. I grew up in a family of immigrants, okay? My people came here after World War II from Sicily. My dad was in the Italian army. And he left because where he grew up, General Patton went straight through. Um, his his town was, you know, not a whole lot left of it. So, so he decided he needed to go to a better place, right? So he's thinking, let me see. I could go move to Berlin. No, not Berlin. Berlin's worse. I know. I could move to Haiti. No, I don't think there's too many Italian restaurants in Haiti. Um, I know. I'll move to the United States. It's a great country. Okay, so that's one reason for loving America. According to my father, it enabled him to become a success with hardly any money at all. I mean, he came here. Um, the house he bought in South Philadelphia at that time cost him $13,000. You know, and we grew up in it, and everything was cool. Okay, it was nice. Well, my dad made he was a contractor, a general contractor, home modeling, and all that. So we fixed it up pretty nice. So he loved the opportunities that this country offered. Okay. Now, looking at that, especially from a guy, you know, that fought alongside the Germans, actually, he couldn't he couldn't stand Germans. And then I go get engaged to a German gal. Anyway, we never got married, but anyway. So he's seen everything that transpired, right? I mean, he was living in Europe. Europe is a shambles, mainly because of the superpower of the world. That's when we really became the superpower of the world. And he saw that and he said, that country there offers an awful lot. Over here in Sicily, I got nothing. I don't want to move to Germany because they got more nothing than I got. Okay. He didn't want to go to Haiti because I don't even think they heard of pizza in Haiti. So he decides to go to the United States. It's got a lot to offer. This is how a guy from Europe looked at us. Now, we are born here and we say we love our country, but we have never been on, well, I have, and I'm sure, look, there's people right now that are on the balls of their ass. There are people that starved to death during the Great Depression. But even with all of that, we were still better off, believe it or not, than a lot of places in Europe. We still had a lot to offer. So looking at it now, as a guy, maybe you're driving your car. I don't know how you'd be watching this if you're driving your car, but you're sitting around picking your nose, and you're wondering, why exactly do I say I love America? I don't know. Let me think this one through. Let's see. I love America because Joe Biden's president. No. Oh, I love America because Kamala Harris is vice president. Nah, nah. That's not why we're saying it. It gets deep. But me, the reason I love America and the reason I am not ashamed to say I'm patriotic and I love this country is due to the fact of our founding fathers left us a fantastic form of government, but Benjamin Franklin said it's a republic if you can keep it. And since then, men have shed their blood, given their lives, given their minds, lost limbs, lost eyesight, lost hearing, lost the ability to walk to keep that form of government. That's what World War II was all about. Korea had nothing to do with that. Vietnam had nothing whatsoever to do with anything. 56,000 kids went over there and lost their lives because of. I'll leave that one alone. But it bothers me. I guess this came to the forefront when that idiot, the football player, Mister, I'm going to take a knee, Mister. Let's call him Mister Kamala Harris. I don't know. You know who I'm talking about? That nitwit. And when I saw them, yeah, I was seeing them. I stopped watching football for a few years over that one. But I seen him take a knee in the stadium. And as a matter of fact, I almost got into a fist fight with a friend over this one. You know, they got the right to do that. That's the only opportunity they have to protest and speak their mind is to take a knee. What the hell are you talking about? Don't you know what the word respect means? You don't have to respect the American flag in a stadium, but please at least respect the people around you. There might be a kid over there who just came back from Afghanistan and his mind is completely frigged up. And he's going to be looking at you. Put yourself in his shoes, okay? And then deal with what this jerk off in the White House did leaving Afghanistan. He armed the Taliban to the teeth with American uniforms and weapons that now, combat veterans from that war can see the fruits of their sacrifice as their enemy drives around with our equipment. So I love America because of what our founding fathers did. They came up with this for a form of a republic, a representative republic, where everyone is equal, everyone gets an equal vote. Okay? And think about this one too. I see you got to look into what the electoral college, why it was actually devised. And once you really understand what you go, oh, you see, because in a representative republic, the majority gets what they want and the minority gets what they want. Well, it's supposed to be that way, but not in reality. Yeah. So I love the United States, like I said, because I was born here rather than being born, I don't know, like some dump in India or Haiti or Uganda. Imagine that one, huh? You wake up, whoa, I'm born in Uganda, son of a gun. No, you were born here in the United States, man. You know, your people may have been slaves. I don't know. But you're not. That's in the past. That's done. In the 1800s, the mid 1800s, I believe it was, in New Orleans, Sicilian immigrants were being hung from street lamps. Yeah, but hey, I've been to New Orleans a couple of times. Yeah, I didn't like break windows because they killed my ancestors or whatever. I didn't curse people out or stab somebody in the heart because, your great great grandfather was in the crowd looking at that. But we love America because of that, because of the founding documents, because of the lives that were sacrificed to keep this form of government going. And in actuality, it's a gift to the world. There are countries that still look to America and they're wondering, what the hell are you guys thinking about over there? Can't you see what's happening to you? Really? I mean, they look at this bozo we got. Again, yesterday with the hand as he gets close from stage. What? No, come, you're going the opposite. No, come this way, Joe. Come on. watch your step. You're gonna break it. Somebody help this guy out, would you? Jesus, God Almighty! Put him in the Oval Office and give him a couple of ice cream cones. He'll be thrilled to death. That'll be the high point of his day. Ay, ay, ay. And then you could get a transvestite to read him a bedtime story. What do you say? How about that one, Joe? So really, that's the only reason I did this show today. Is maybe you'll sit down tonight and wonder, you know what? Why? If I say, like, what does patriotism mean? Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. Yeah. I tried to make sense out of that once, and I had a little bit of a difficult time with it. And I was embarrassed because of that. What does it mean to be patriotic, actually? And like I said, when we say we love our country, what exactly are we talking about? What is it exactly? Show me. Give me an example. What is it you love? Because right now, there's not a whole lot to love here. And that bothers me a lot. We're watching, we're just watching it all get completely destroyed. I mean, when you got Congress people that just flat out lie and not a single thing happens to them, something is seriously wrong. The Steele dossier, right? Was that fact or fiction? Was it fact? Was it fact? Did they prove that was written in those papers was actually fact? They didn't. They couldn't prove it. They couldn't prove it. The FBI did their investigation. The FBI said, take this dossier and use it for toilet paper because that's about it's only you know what I'm trying to say. You know the thing. That's all it's good for. And nobody got in trouble. Think of that. Nobody got in trouble. Nobody got in trouble. Except the president, Mr. Donald Trump, the most hated man in human history. Okay? They're going to still try and find something on him when he's in his casket. Look, I am not by any stretch of the imagination a Donald Trump fanatic. But I will look at what he did in comparison to jolly old Mr. Obama and this individual that we have running around the White House screaming who ordered the veal cutlet. I would have to say Mr. Trump did a much better job. And that's about it. So that's really all I wanted to hit on today. Okay, I hope it, yeah, caused you to think about things and answer them yourself. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, right? And come back again some other time. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another fun-filled episode in the can, and I'll see you later.